Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Making It on Mondays live session. I'm so sorry for running so late. We had a few technical issues with Facebook, but we are live, it seems, which is great. And welcome. I actually wanted to apologize. First of all, because today we were meant to be with Jacqueline McPherson talking about laser acupuncture, but unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, Jacqueline couldn't make it today. So we're going to be talking to Jacqueline next week about laser acupuncture and how it works to support you on your IVF and fertility journey. But today we're going to talk about mindful eating, and we're going to talk about why how we eat is just as important as what we eat. Now, why is this true? Because we hear so much about how it's so important to eat the right foods when we're trying to conceive. And indeed, I've made many lives on the topic of nutrition, and I've made many lives on the topic of what we should and shouldn't eat to enhance our fertility. But we can be really good with our diet and we can eat all the right foods. But if we're eating on the run or we're eating in a rush and we aren't present with our food, we're not going to digest, assimilate, or metabolize the nutrients properly. So what that means is that our nutrition strategy for fertility is really twofold. It's not only what we eat, but it's also how we eat. And today I'm going to focus on the how. So we're going to touch on why how we eat is so important. But then I'm also going to share with you an easy practice that you can use to get this right. And it's really something easy that you can take away today. And the technique that I'm going to teach you will get your metabolism going without causing you any harm or making you feel deprived. In fact, this mindful eating technique is going to improve your digestion. It'll improve how efficiently your body absorbs nutrients, and it'll also help you to feel satisfied and fulfilled after every single meal. All right. So before we start, I'd just like to ask you to take a moment to reflect on your own relationship with food. How do you eat? Do you sit down and take time to really savor and enjoy your food? Or do you treat eating as just another part of your everyday routine? And do you kind of squeeze it in wherever you find time in your day? So if you're on with us live, or even if you're on the recording, I'd love to hear from you. How is your eating? What is your eating style? Are you a medium, slow, or a fast eater? I would love to know. All right. What is interesting here is that the way we eat has a direct effect on our digestive system and the way that we metabolize food. In fact, what we know is that when we eat fast, or when we eat distracted, or when we eat when we're stressed out, we lose around 60 to 70% of our digestive and metabolic capacity. Now, just as a wood in a fire needs oxygen to burn, your stomach needs oxygen to burn food. So if our digestive fire burns really dimly, then food is stored as fat, and a lot of the nutrients are actually passed through. In other words, we don't absorb, assimilate, and metabolize the food properly, and we don't absorb and assimilate the nutrients that are in that food. So when we're in the stress mode, when we're in the stress response, we instinctively breathe faster, which in turn leads to a sluggish metabolism. And then, of course, extended periods of shallow breathing results in low oxygen intake, which results in poor digestion, in body stress, and ultimately weight gain, which is not what we want. So I hope this is making sense. But the bottom line really to know here is that eating slowly and with presence creates optimal digestion, optimal metabolism, and optimal nutrient assimilation. And then eating fast creates the opposite. All right, so that's really all that we need to know, is that we as human beings were designed and created to eat with pleasure, to eat mindfully, and we need to go back to basics. We need to go back to what it is that us human beings do well, what we're programmed to do, which is to really sit and be present and take pleasure from food. All right, so I'm going to share with you a simple technique that I teach and that I've personally used for a very long time, because I used to be a very, very fast eater, that will really help to maximize your metabolism and get you absorbing your nutrients far more efficiently. So step one is, before you start eating, any meal, whether it's, big or small, it doesn't matter, we need to stop and breathe. Because before we even pick up our fork or our spoon, we need to start breathing deeply for as long as it takes for us to reach a slow, deep breathing rhythm. Now, if you're already partly relaxed, this can take about 3 breaths. But if you're stressed out, it's probably going to take around 10 breaths or more. And as you breathe, you'll start to smell the food, right? And this is really, really good for your digestion because it gives your digestive juices a chance to prepare for what you're about to receive. And then as you begin to eat, just continue to breathe mindfully through your nose. And when you mix your food with high doses of oxygen, when you're breathing in this way, you create the optimal conditions for boosting your metabolism and along with it, really raising your digestive, metabolic, and fat burning capability. All right, on to step 2. Now, step 2 really is to eat slowly. As I said before, when we eat too fast, whether it's because we're stressed out or because it's become a habit, we don't actually give our stomach enough time to tell the brain that it's had enough. And so we keep on eating. Now, the truth is, it takes about 20 minutes for brain signaling hormones to signal the brain that it no longer needs food. So as a guide, we generally say we should only eat a full meal when we have 20 minutes or so to do so. Now, you may or may not know this, but the way that the body regulates appetite is via a protein called leptin. Now, leptin tells the brain to inhibit our appetite when our digestive system signals that we're full. Now, if we eat too fast, we don't give the brain enough time to tell the body that we're full, right? So if you're struggling to lose weight, for example, and if you're somebody who overeats or eats too fast, and you've done so for some time, the chances are that you probably don't have enough circulating leptin. Now, a shortage of leptin in the long term not only leads to reduced appetite control, but it also leads to increased cravings, meaning it's really harder for us to know when we're full. But the good news is that you can naturally increase your leptin production by slowing down with your eating, right? So as I said, the guideline is that you should eventually work your way up to taking 20 minutes to finish each meal. And that's really the optimal time for digestion to occur and for the brain to let us know when we're full. All right, so that's step 2. Step 3 is to eat with all of your senses and to really take deep pleasure in your food. Now, whether we like it or not, we're designed as human beings to gain pleasure from eating. And our bodies all have a pleasure quotient that needs to be filled. And if we allow the body the pleasure that it desires from food, it won't need to overeat to fill that quotient. All right, so how do we go about eating mindfully? What are the steps? What is the awareness that we need to have, right? Well, this is how I like to do it. I always say we always have to sit down and eat our food away from the work desk, away from the television, and focus on our food as we eat. No distractions, right? And while we're sitting there and we're focusing on our food, we're not looking at our phone, we're not doing anything else except possibly talking to someone else, we give thanks for the nutrition that this food offers our body. And we relax and we breathe long, even breaths as I described before. And then we chew slowly and we savor each mouthful. And what this helps us to do is to experience the maximum pleasure possible from the food that we're eating by using all of our senses. All right, so we bring our sense of taste, our sense of texture, our sense of sight, and our sense of smell to eating and to the act of eating. And then when the meal has satisfied our desire, which really you'll be amazed at how much, how little it actually takes for us to satisfy the desire that's actually inside of us. We'll put down our knife and fork and we'll stop eating, even if there's food left on the plate. And by relaxing into the experience, one actually stays aware and can sense the exact quantity that's just right for our body and what our body needs. And then no matter what you're eating, just remember there should be no guilt, right? Guilt is a stressor to the body and it raises stress hormone levels, which actually signals the body to store fat rather than burn it. So if you are going to have that piece of chocolate cake, do so with love, sit down, eat it really, really slowly and fully experience how pleasurable it is to indulge in it. All right. And as I said, when you eat in this way, your metabolism, your fat burning, your nutrient assimilation are optimized, and then weight loss naturally follows if that's what you're actually looking for. So to summarize the 3 steps that maximize your metabolism and your nutrient absorption: number 1, stop and breathe before you even start eating. Number 2, slow down with your eating. Start with 10 minutes if that's all you've got, but move up to 20 minutes on a main meal. And then step number 3, eat with all of your senses and take pleasure in your food. So I'd love for you to go ahead and give these 3 steps a try. Let me know how it goes. Let us know in the group if it makes a difference, if you eat less, if you notice that you digest the food better. This practice was really, really transformational for me, and has been for quite a few years. I used to be a really, really fast eater, as I said. And if we're absorbing our nutrients properly and we're maximizing our metabolic power, then we're giving our body a far better chance of conceiving, right? Because we're getting everything that we need from all the good food that we're putting in our body. So I hope this was useful. Please let me know in the comments box. We have got a live next week with Jacqueline to talk about laser acupuncture and how it can support you through your IVF cycle. And then on the 4th of July, Amy will be interviewing Amanda Harbright, who is a nutritionist and a naturopath, and she's going to talk about how to find a good prenatal supplement. So that's it from me for today. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your week. I hope your Monday's going well, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.